At my father's black-tie charity gala, my mother shoved me in front of everyone and said, "You weren't invited here." Nearly 300 guests fell silent and turned to look at me. A waiter standing beside me struggled to steady his champagne tray as the glasses clinked together. From across the ballroom, my father signaled security to escort me out. I didn't say a word. I simply looked at my mother. She wasn't angry. There wasn't even frustration on her face. She had already decided that tonight she was going to humiliate me in front of everyone. My name is Claire Bennett. I'm 34 years old and I own a medical technology company in Austin, Texas. That evening was the annual Bennett Hope Foundation Charity Gala. The foundation was named after my father, Charles Bennett, a successful real estate developer. My mother, Elaine, served as the chairperson of the foundation. My younger sister, Vanessa, handled public relations. Me. I was the biggest sponsor of the night. My company, Northline Medical Systems, had committed a $250,000 sponsorship to launch mobile health clinics in underserved communities. I wasn't there to receive an award. I was there to make sure my company's sponsorship was being presented properly. The moment I walked into the ballroom, Vanessa stepped in front of me. "What are you doing here?" "I came because my company is sponsoring this event." "Your name isn't on the guest list. There's a separate list for sponsor representatives." She didn't answer. I walked past her. The ballroom looked stunning. White orchids decorated every table. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. A massive LED screen glowed behind the stage. I looked at the screen. Northline's logo was there. But it was tiny. Something didn't feel right. Just then Mom hurried toward me. "Claire, come outside with me." "Why?" "Not here. We can talk right here." She lowered her voice. "You shouldn't have come tonight." "Why?" "Because we don't need you here." I looked straight at her. "You need my $250,000, just not me?" She didn't answer. Vanessa stood quietly behind her. Then Mom suddenly shoved me. "You weren't invited here." People nearby immediately stopped talking. My father looked over from the other side of the room and motioned to security. 2 guards walked toward me. "Ma'am, we'll need you to come with us." I nodded. "I'll walk." I didn't argue. I didn't make a scene. I followed them into the hotel lobby. Near the coffee station was an empty sofa. I sat down and pulled out my phone. I logged into Northline's sponsorship portal. The contract still showed one status: pending. The money had not been released yet. I immediately called my attorney, Maya Chin. They threw me out of the event. She was quiet for a moment. "Have the funds been released?" "No." "Then you can still withdraw them." "I think something's wrong with the program." I opened the event booklet again. Under major sponsor, my company's name wasn't listed. Instead it said, "The Bennett Family Legacy Gift, $250,000. I stared at the page. They were planning to present my company's sponsorship as a donation from my family. That was why I had been removed from the guest list. I immediately sent Maya a picture of the booklet. She called back less than a minute later. "They violated the sponsorship agreement. Withdraw it immediately." I approved the legal notice. Then I pressed the button inside the sponsorship portal. Withdraw sponsorship. A confirmation window appeared. I tapped yes. It was 7:42 p.m. The event hadn't officially started yet. A few minutes later, Vanessa texted me. "What did you do?" I didn't answer. Mom called. I ignored it. Dad called. I ignored him too. The lobby television was broadcasting the gala live. Mom stood on stage smiling. "Tonight, the Bennett family is proud to present a transformational gift of $250,000. Just then Senator Michael Grant walked onto the stage. He knew the healthcare project well. He also knew exactly who the real sponsor was. An aide handed him a note. He read it. Then he looked up at the audience. "I've just been informed there's been an unexpected change regarding tonight's sponsorship." Mom leaned toward him. "We can discuss this privately." He stayed at the microphone. Then he asked, "Who threw out the woman who made this entire event possible?" The entire ballroom fell silent. I stood up and walked back toward the ballroom. The security guard recognized me. "They're asking for you." I walked inside. One by one, people turned to look at me. The senator stepped off the stage. "Ms. Bennett, did Northline Medical Systems withdraw its sponsorship?" "Yes." Why? I held up the event booklet. Because my company's sponsorship was being presented as a donation from the Bennett family without my permission, and then I was thrown out of the event. Whispers spread across the room. Dad finally spoke. This is all a misunderstanding. I looked directly at him. Didn't you call security? He didn't answer. I turned to Mom. Didn't you shove me? She looked away. A reporter raised her hand. Has the sponsorship been permanently withdrawn? Yes, from this foundation, I answered. Not from the healthcare project. I didn't stay any longer. I walked back into the lobby. Before getting into my car, I sat quietly for several minutes. That night made something very clear. The gala wasn't the real problem. It was only the latest example of a pattern that had existed for years. Vanessa had always been the favorite. She changed college majors several times. Dad paid every one of her expenses. I earned scholarships. I worked weekends to cover everything else. Mom always said the same thing. You're strong. Vanessa needs more help. When I started my company, no one offered to help me. When the company became successful, Dad proudly told everyone, our family has always cared about healthcare. The truth was different. I built everything myself. 6 months earlier, Dad had visited my office asking for a $250,000 sponsorship. The project itself was excellent. Mobile clinics, free health screenings, rural healthcare. I agreed, but only with one condition. Every dollar had to go directly to that project. Dad accepted immediately. We signed the contract. Then little by little I was removed from every planning email. First they said the guest list wasn't finished. Then they said the sponsor table was full. Finally my reserved seat disappeared altogether. I ignored the warning signs. Until gala night. The next morning the foundation's board called an emergency meeting. I attended with Maya. Dad, Mom, and Vanessa were already there. The board reviewed the altered event booklet. They reviewed the original sponsorship agreement. Then Maya produced an email Vanessa had sent to the event designer. Remove Northline from the headline. Present it as the Bennett family legacy gift. The room went silent. Vanessa immediately said, Mom told me to do it. Mom didn't deny it. The chairman asked, why was Claire removed from the guest list? No one answered. I simply said, my company donates money to help patients, not to buy a family's reputation. The board voted to launch an independent investigation. They asked me to restore the sponsorship. I refused. Instead, I partnered directly with Senator Grant's office and another nonprofit organization. The same $250,000 funded the mobile clinics exactly as planned. 3 months later the first clinic opened. There was no red carpet. No crystal chandeliers. No cameras. Just patients waiting for care. Exactly as it should have been. A few weeks later the board removed Mom as chairperson. Vanessa resigned. Dad called me several times. I never answered. Eventually he left a voicemail. We're still your family. I deleted it. 6 months later Mom came to my office. She quietly said, I made a mistake. You shoved me in front of everyone. She nodded. Can you forgive us? I looked at her. I saved the project. Saving your reputation isn't my job. She left without saying another word. Today the Bennett Hope Foundation still exists, but it's a shadow of what it used to be. Dad rarely appears at public events anymore. Vanessa started her own small public relations agency. Me. I still run Northline Medical Systems. Every year I invest in healthcare projects that genuinely help people. There's only one difference now. Every contract I sign includes one additional requirement. Transparency. Because I've learned that some people will even lie in the name of charity. My parents threw me out that night because they believed they could remove my name and still keep my money. They miscalculated. I didn't take anything away from them. I simply took back my sponsorship. And their entire gala ended right there. If you stayed with me until the very end, thank you so much for watching. If this story meant something to you, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories like this. Your support truly helps us keep bringing these stories to life. See you in the next one.